Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, Cam. Okay, continuing on with the basic nominal sentence, we're going to throw a pronoun into the mix. Before we delve into that, let's just quickly review what a nominal sentence is. We said a nominal sentence in Arabic is known as a jumlatul ismiya, and it's made up, and it basically begins with a noun, right? And it's made up of two components, just like in English. It's made up of a subject, which is known as a mubtada, and it's made up of a khabar, which is the news or the information about that subject. So in Arabic, the subject is going to be definite, and the khabar is going to be indefinite in a basic nominal sentence. Just keep that in mind. The mubtada and khabar are also going to match in number and in gender, and in a basic nominal sentence, they're both going to be in a state of rafa. So before we delve into actual examples with the pronouns, let's just take a look at the actual pronouns. So in Arabic, there are 14 pronouns, and they pretty much act as replacement words for nouns, and they can be used to refer back to a noun, right? So there's huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, nahnu, right? And one thing you want to keep in mind is that pronouns by default are in a state of rafa and definite. So even though they have fathas on the end and alifs and sukuns, they are still in a state of rafa. They're still in a state of rafa. They're actually fixed like this. They're not going to change. The only time that they change state is when something impacts them, but they're still going to look like this, whether they're in jar or nasb. And they're all definite. They're actually on our definite list if you go back and look at that list. So let's take a look at an example. So ash-shajaratu jamilatun, right? So the tree is beautiful. In this case, we know that this is our mubtada because it's definite and it's rafa. We know this is our khabar because it's indefinite due to the sign of tanween on the end, right? Double ending generally means that a noun is indefinite, and it also lacks all the other signs of definiteness, and it's in a state of rafa. They both match in gender, right? And they both match in number, which the mubtada and the khabar have to do. So we look over to here, and we still want to talk about this tree, and it would with a pronoun, it would become hiya jamilatun. So it is beautiful, right? So in this case, we know that hiya is definite because it's a pronoun. It was from our list, and we know the khabar jamilatun is indefinite, right? Because of the sign of tanween on the end. Once again, the mubtada and the khabar have to match in gender. So they're both feminine. This has a ta marbuta on the end, which is a sign of femininity. And this is hiya, which is singular, third person feminine. And they both have to match in number. We both know they're both singular. They have none of the signs. Going on. So al-muslimani tawilani. So the two Muslims are tall. In this case, same thing. Definite, indefinite. So in this case, I know usually we look out for tanweens, but when it comes to dual, right, when we have ani endings and plurals, when we have una and ina endings, when it comes to those, what we just need to look out for is if it has none of the signs of definiteness, right? So going back to that list, meaning it's missing alif lam, it's not the one being called, it's not a part of a pointing phrase or being pointed to, and so one of the pointing words, and so forth. So in this case, we have definite, we have indefinite. They're both masculine because they have none of the signs of femininity. They're both in a state of dual, right? They're matching in number. And finally, they're both in a state of rafa. Because we know for dual, when it comes to rafa, it's an ani ending. But when it comes to nasb and jar, it's aini, right? And since we're referring to two, it would be huma, which means they both. And then tawilani would stay the same, tall. And this is definite, this is indefinite, we have a mubtada, we have a khabar. They're both matching in gender, and they're both in a state of rafa. And they both are matching in number. So in this case, we have aqlamu nafi'atun. So the pens are beneficial, right? The pens are beneficial. When we change this over and put in a pronoun to point back to this aqlamu, it becomes hiya. So you might be wondering, well, hiya is for something singular, right? It's not for plural. Usually the plural is hunna. But remember, when we're speaking about a broken plural, or referring back to it, or describing it, or referring to it in any way, it's treated as singular feminine, right? So aqlamu, just because this is a broken plural, it'll be referred to with hiya, right? So this would mean they are beneficial, even though this is singular. And yeah, that is pronouns. Assalamu alaikum.